Federalization of property taxation. You're going to want to take a gander at this one and what's going down and what they're planning and what's down the pipeline. You won't be able to look this up. There's no link for it. It's non-existent. But I'm going to tell you how it's going to come down. You know how you have municipal property taxes, right? County property taxes, if you're in the States. Or in your district city, or depending in what region you are. I'm in a small city here in Merritt, British Columbia. Now, I pay my property taxes. It goes to the city. The city then redistributes the funds to fix one of our 2 stoplights, or fix any broken roads, or what we have going on here, or certain snow removal. Garbage is separate. We pay for garbage on a separate bill. But property taxes. And I want to focus on property taxes because this is what's going to happen, folks. They're actually going to not provincialize or state-wise property tax. They're going to accelerate to a federal level. What am I talking about? So you pay your city your property tax for them to maintain your utilities or whatever they got going on. Going forward, they're working on this for control. They actually want it to go to the federal level. And then at the federal level, they're going to have distribution centers where the money gets distributed. The applications get underwritten. So a city like this, it needs dikes. It needs a few things to fix to maintain it properly and functioning properly. If some lights go out or some needing new snowplow or something, the city usually has its own budgets and books, balances, and checks. Well, what's going to happen now is the city will have to apply it to a federal level for money. Your property tax now will become federalized at the highest level. So this way, they could fight climate change. And they could send more money for war overseas and fund projects that people are not on board for. And this is something that's already, they tried putting this in the works back in the early 2000s. Then it got shot down. Then they tried it, I think, back in 2011, 2012, a way of where they want to universalize the property tax, where not everyone pays the same property tax across the board, where the property tax gets sent to a hierarchy, the federal government. So you got to look at the framework. So instead of being in the municipal level or city level, little small city municipal level, not the provincial or state level, but you're going right to the top to the federal level, where they've been obviously misspending our money at that level in grand proportions. Climate change. So they're working really hard on this. So this is something that's going to come up. You can't find this anywhere. You're going to ask me for a link and I'll subscribe to you if I find it. There's no link for this. This is something that's in the works. This is something that's going to come together. And they're going to find ways, obviously, to jack up your property taxes on property you already own, because they see fit that they... So what happens is, like, okay, I need to get this repaved. The street needs to get repaved. So instead of going to city commerce or to the city at the city level and say, hey guys, we need paving done. Let's get a contractor. Let's get this done. You're going to have the city now will have to apply at a higher level for funding for roads. So they will account all the roads they need to pave at once. And then they would account or basically write up a deal for the federal government to state which company they're going to be using and why they're using that company, and to make sure they're all to code. And we're not talking about to code for safety, to code that's following the government mandates for everything. And then going from there, and then they get the money should be electronically sent, and then the money arrives for the streets to pave. That's just an example. Or if they need a bus or a garbage truck, they're actually going to want to do this at a bigger scale on a federal level with distribution. Financial distribution centers, like underwriters, will be approving cities for whatever they need. And I know it sounds weird, but they're going to do it at the property tax level so that this way it will choke out the smaller communities or smaller cities or smaller boroughs into chaos and collapse. This is what I see happening. You're not going to find anything about this, But I feel this is where it's going to be going. And I've been really bang on a lot of my predictions. I get pooped on a lot. And then a few years later down the road, things come about, and then, oh, well, yeah, no apology. But that's okay. Federalization of taxation at a property tax level. Let me know if it's happening in your country. I know in some countries where it's a little bit different, where I'm actually talking about, what I'm talking about here is actually already happening in other countries. But do you see it happening where the municipalities and even the state level will start losing their property tax funding to maintain their cities to a higher federal level, where it's supposed to be safer and more universal for the people, by the people, but it's really going to fund BS wars and all kinds of other BS that's going on, and carbon tax part 2 is going to pave the way for disenfranchising and impoverishing more middle class across the English speaking world. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Mike Martin's here. I have spoken.